Thursday's schedule is jam-packed, featuring both world number ones, both Williams sisters, and 2014 champion Stan Wawrinka. Stan Wawrinka, photo by Chrysaline Cayo, copyright at Sport Vision. Day 4 will include some big names facing off in second-round matches, as several former top 10 players battle their way back from injuries and subpar results. Are any of them ready to take out a high seed? Let's take a deeper look at Thursday's most compelling contests. Garbiñe Muguruza, 18, vs. Johanna Konta Embed from Getty Images. Here are two top players from previous years coming off disappointing 2018 seasons. After winning a major title in both 2016 and 2017, Muguruza went just 8-4 at Grand Slam events last year. Konta had an even worse year, going 2-4 at the Slams, and is consequently unseeded at this event. The British number one then split with yet another coach, Michael Joyce, and is now working with Dmitry Zaviolov, the former coach of Stan Wawrinka. Konta played for nearly 3 hours on Tuesday, outlasting Australian Ajla Tomljanovic in a third-set tiebreak. Muguruza spent almost 2 hours less on court, winning her opening round in straight sets. Konta holds a 2-1 edge over Muguruza, with Johanna's last win coming during her breakout run at the 2015 US Open. Garbiñe has been dealing with a leg injury to start the year, and retired from both the Hopman Cup and the Sydney warm-up event. The healthier and more confident Konta should be favored here over the 18th seed. Milos Raonic, 16, vs. Stan Wawrinka Embed from Getty Images. What a brutal draw for the 16th seed. After drawing Nick Kyrgios in the first round, Raonic gets three-time major champion Stan Wawrinka in the second round. Milos took out an injured Kyrgios in straight sets, while Wawrinka was down a set to Ernest Gulbis before Gulbis had to retire with a back injury. Stan is 4-2 lifetime against Milos, though the Canadian took both of their last two matches. Raonic won a 5-setter at the Australian Open 3 years ago, and defeated Wawrinka in straight sets at last year's US Open. The fast-paced hard courts in Melbourne should play to Milos' advantage, especially since Stan likes having more time to set up his big swings. But Wawrinka is determined to recapture his past glory, and certainly has fond memories of some great Australian Open wins. Recent form and results favor Raonic, but don't count out the fighting spirit and shot-making of Wawrinka. Serena Williams, 16, vs. Eugenie Bouchard Embed from Getty Images. Serena needed only 49 minutes to win her opening round match. Similarly, a rejuvenated Bouchard dropped just 3 games on Tuesday, and also advanced in less than an hour. It's been a rough few years for Bouchard, who has struggled with her confidence and admitted to losing her love for the game. 6 months ago, the 24-year-old was barely ranked inside the top 200. But she ended 2018 by advancing to the final in Luxembourg after coming through qualifying, and is now back in the top 100. Bouchard has lost both times she's faced Serena, though they haven't played since 2014. Still, Serena played top-notch tennis on Tuesday, and should comfortably advance here. There are no parts of Bouchard's game that should complicate matters for the 23-time major champion. Novak Djokovic 1, vs. Jo-Wilfried Tsonga Embed from Getty Images. This is a rematch from the 2008 Australian Open final. That would be the first of 14 major singles titles for Djokovic, and counting, while Tsonga has never returned to a Grand Slam final. That final 11 years ago was their first career meeting. Overall, Djokovic is 16-6 against Tsonga, and has won 13 of their last 14 matches. Jo's last victory came at the Rogers Cup in 2014. Tsonga now finds himself ranked 177th in the world, as he missed over 6 months of 2018 due to injury. But the Frenchman got 3 solid wins in Brisbane to begin 2019, and took out Martin Klizan in straight sets on Tuesday. Djokovic, though, is at the height of his abilities, and will be too much for the returning Tsonga to handle. The crowd in Australia is quite fond of Joe, so perhaps he can feed off their energy to make this a fun one to watch. Simona Halep 1 vs. Sofia Kenin. Embed from Getty Images. The world number 1 impressively came back from a set and a breakdown against Kaia Kanepi in the opening round, with Kanepi sending a barrage of powerful ground strokes across the net. That was Halep's first victory since Cincinnati 5 months ago. She is still rediscovering her form after shutting down her 2018 season early due to a back injury. Kenin, a 20-year-old American, arrives at this second-round encounter with a lot of momentum. Sofia was heartbroken after the final women's match of 2018, when she lost a near 4-hour epic at the Fed Cup final to Katerina Siniakova. But she quickly got over that emotional loss, and won her first WTA title just a few days ago in Hobart. Kenin could push Halep on Thursday, and keep in mind it was another young American, Lauren Davis, who pushed Simona to 15-13 in the third set a year ago in Melbourne. The result here will likely depend upon how close to her best Halep is. Tuesday's comeback win will give her some much-needed confidence, and she should get through this challenge as well if she plays as she did during the second half of her opening round. Other notable matches on day 4, embed from Getty Images. Sasha Zverev 4 vs. Jeremy Chardy, who came through in the 5th set tiebreak on Tuesday. Naomi Osaka 4 vs. 21-year-old Tamara Zidansek of Slovenia, who upset Australia's Daria Gavrilova on Tuesday. Kei Nishikori 8, who barely survived his opening round match thanks to his opponent cramping and retiring, vs. 39-year-old Ivo Kalovic. Venus Williams, who needed almost 3 hours to prevail in the first round, vs. the never-dull Elise Cornet. US Open semi-finalist Anastasia Sevastova 13 vs. 18-year-old Canadian qualifier Bianca Andreescu, who upset Caroline Wozniacki and Venus Williams on her way to the final in Auckland 2 weeks ago. Order of play: Rod Laver Arena. Play begins from 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Victoria Kuzmova, SVK, V6, Alina Svitolina, UKR, Stan Wawrinka, SWI, V16, Milos Raonic, Can 1, Simona Halep, ROM, B. Sofia Kenin, USA, Eugenie Bouchard, Can, V16, Serena Williams, USA, 1, Novak Djokovic, SR, B. Joe Wilfried Tsonga, BRA, Margaret Court Arena. Play begins from 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Ivo Kalovic, Crow, V8, Kei Nishikori, JPN 4, Naomi Osaka, JPN B. Tamara Zidansek, Slow, Elise Cornet, BRA, B. Venus Williams, USA 4, Alexander Zverev, GER, B. Jeremy Chardy, BRA, Johanna Konta, GBR, V 18, Garbiñe Muguruza, Spa, Melbourne Arena. Play begins from 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Madison Bringle, USA, V 7, Karolina Pliskova, CZE, Anastasia Potapova, Rus, V 17, Madison Keys, USA, 24, Hyeon Chung Kor, V. Pierre Hugh Herbert, BRA, Alexei Popiron, House, V 7, Dominic Thiem, AAUT Court 5. Play begins from 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. 1, Oliver Maroc, AUT Vera Zvonareva, Rus, Court 13. Play begins from 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Luxika Kumkum, Caroline Wozniacki, Zimbio.com. Past Australian Open champions Caroline Wozniacki and Angelique Kerber cruised into the third round with straight sets wins. The defending champion Wozniacki made it back T0 back wins with a crushing 6-1, 6-3 win over Sweden's Johanna Larsson. While 2016 champion Angelique Kerber proved why she is one of the favorites for the title after a 6-2, 6-3 win against Brazilian qualifier Beatriz Haddad Maia. The German will now play Australian wildcard Kimberly Burrell after she stunned Donna Vekic, while Wozniacki could face Maria Sharapova on Friday. Although it was Wozniacki's first time of defending a Grand Slam title, she sure hasn't looked nervous so far as she went to work against the world number 77. A break to love in the second game sealed a good start as the Swede was made to pay for early match nerves. In this Scandinavian clash, the Dane had 10 breakpoint opportunities as she continued to be aggressive. After a second break in the sixth, the clinical Wozniacki sealed the opening set in 28 minutes on Margaret Court Arena. The second set provided fans with a similar pattern as the Dane assumed control by breaking in the third game to love for a 2-0 lead. Even though Larsson created a couple break points, she wasn't aggressive in the big moments to capitalize as Wozniacki sealed her fourth break of the match to book her place in the last 32. A great performance from Wozniacki, who is sending a real message that she has no plans of giving up her title without a fight. The win from the world number 3 means she could face Maria Sharapova in the next round, who still has to play Johanna Larsson. Kerber continues good form. Another player who is sending a real message in world number 2 and 2016 champion Angelique Kerber, who dropped 5 games in a great win over Beatriz Haddad Maia. The Brazilian qualifier had to work very hard to keep hold of her serves but was broken 3 times without reply as the Kerber advanced to the last 32. In the next round, Kerber will now play Australian wildcard Kimberly Burrell after she knocked out 29th seed Donna Vekic 6-4, 4-6, 6-1. The world number 200 is making the most of her Aussie summer as she makes the last 32 of her own slam after sealing her first top 10 win in Brisbane earlier this year against Daria Kasatkina. Is meant to be the best time of the year for Australian tennis players and officials, but not everybody is celebrating. The Rod Laver Arena, photo by Chrysaline Caio, copyright at Sportvision. Usually the talk in the home country of a Grand Slam is centered around how the national players are performing. However, at the Australian Open it is frustration, anger and a continuous war of words. It all started earlier this week when Bernard Tomic launched a somewhat unexpected attack on Davis Cup captain Lleyton Hewitt. Following his first-round loss, Tomic accused the former world number 1 of having a negative impact on his national association and went as far as saying that no one likes him, a somewhat unsurprising dialogue when you look at their complex history. "I thought Hewitt was retired," he said at Melbourne Park following his defeat. "I'm going to say it honestly, no one likes him anymore. He's playing Davis Cup. I thought he was retired. He's playing all these matches and stuff like this. He used to hate Tennis Australia," Tomic added, referring to Australia's tennis body. "It's weird. And now he loves them." What's happened here? To make the situation even more tense, the News Corporation of Australia revealed that Tomic even threatened his compatriot 2 years ago following a deterioration in their friendship. He told the agency, "2 years ago, I said, if he ever tries to talk to me, I'll knock him out. The timing of the feud is somewhat unfortunate, but the matter in itself is unsurprising." Tomic, who is a former top 20 player, is known for his blunt and outspoken comments, previously criticizing the new type of balls used at the Australian Open. Whilst the 26-year-old is a critic of Hewitt, others have jumped to his defense. Nick Kyrgios, who is no stranger to controversy himself, said there was not really a rift between him and the Davis Cup captain, contradicting earlier claims made by his compatriot. "I don't know what to say. I don't have a big deal with anything. I've always wanted to play Davis Cup. I love Davis Cup, I'm available. That's all I got to say," he said. "I think the focus on these issues is ridiculous, to be honest. With all the issues that are going on in the world, we're focusing on someone's comments about Davis Cup. It's pretty sad." Hewitt is playing in the men's doubles this week, despite announcing his retirement from the sport 3 years ago. In recent times he has made a habit of staging mini comebacks to the tour to play in doubles tournaments, something Tomic has claimed is done for financial gain and takes away the opportunity of a young player receiving a wild card. Participants in the doubles draw will earn at least $10,500 for playing in the first round. "We made the semi-finals in Sydney, and came within a whisker of making the finals. Yeah, I don't see what the problem is," said doubles partner Jordan Thompson. Sorted out behind closed doors, unanswered questions embed from Getty Images. Wally Mansour is the performance boss of Tennis Australia. Asked about his opinion on the issue, the 55-year-old believes a meeting between all of the involved parties is the best solution. expressing concern that the incident is damaging their public image. "What I want to get away from is the public tennis game, it being played out in the press," Masur said. "I'd rather those guys got in a room and they sorted out privately, and I think there's a chance. The tournament is in full swing. I wouldn't say it's on both of their agendas at the moment, but it would be something I am keen to explore." Whilst Masur is keen to play down the fiasco, there are still concerns. Echoed by Thanasi Kokkinakis, who replied, "I'm not answering that," when asked if he supported Hewitt's captaincy. Meanwhile, Matthew Ebden has also voiced his concerns. "There's clearly some issues that need to be addressed with the players in Tennis Australia, with Davis Cup and the players and the group as a whole," said Ebden. "Perhaps the only comforting thing in this situation is the performance of the woman." Both Ashley Barty and Sam Stosur have been quick to point out that the problem is linked solely to the men's side. "They've got their issues. We don't have anything to do with what the men do," Stosur told reporters. "It would be a shame if it put a dampener on things as a whole. The women's side is in a really good spot. We all really genuinely support each other and like to see each other do well. We haven't had a problem for a very long time, so we must be doing something all right. As things currently stand, Hewitt will remain Davis Cup captain for the foreseeable future." Polanski suffered a 3-set defeat to Andrei Rublev in the qualifying round, but is the first lucky loser of the tournament, benefiting from Thanasi Kokkinakis' misfortune. Symbio.com. The full draw for Australian Open is finally out, with the places marked qualifiers finally filled. At the time the draw was made, the final round of qualifying had not been completed, therefore places were marked qualifiers until such players' identities could be determined. Q. Andrei Rublev vs. Yenchsun Lu Malik Jaziri vs. Q. Go Soeda. Q. Alexander Bublik vs. 16. Lucas Pouille Thomas Burdick vs. Q. Luca Vanni. Q. Bjorn Fratangelo vs. Q. Noah Rubin. Q. Jurgen Melzer vs. 17. Roger Federer. 26. Albert Ramos Vinolas vs. Q. Lucas Lacko. Q. Thomas Fabiano vs. Donald Young. Q. Francis Tiafoe vs. Mikhail Kukushkin. Yoshihito Nishioka vs. Q. Alex Volk. Daniil Medvedev vs. Q. Ernesto Escobedo. Dmitry Tursunov vs. Q. Radek Stepanek. Q. Riley Opelka vs. 11. David Goffin. Q. Blake Mott vs. 18. Richard Gasquet. 30. Pablo Carreno Busta vs. LL Peter Polanski. Denis Istomin vs. Q. Ivan Dodig. Polanski has made the main draw despite losing to Andrei Rublev in the qualifying round. Kokkinakis was forced to withdraw following an abdominal injury.